Yeah, I gotta get back on. I ain't been on that shit in a couple of fucking weeks. I gotta get back on that shit. It was taking too much
house
memory.
party kind of dangerous. You know what I mean? Anybody could just chime in.
Yeah, you gotta lock that room, man. If you don't lock
Definitely
that room,
gotta lock that room.
I made that mistake. Yeah,
oh yeah, I made that mistake when I first got it.
Definitely made that mistake. Learn quick.
But yeah, man, this is the Homage Podcast. Me and Doe put it together. We started it. Just like everybody else, when everything went left with Corona, we wanted to do something that sort of piggybacks on a lot of the projects we're doing. So like me, Doe, Ed is in the mix. We doing these documentaries and we doing all these different projects related to, the game in general, whether it be all different forms of the culture. So we found that this would be a easy segue for people to see like where we're going with these documentaries, because we got one documentary coming out about called The Sixth Borough of Hip Hop, and that's where we're highlighting legendary artists from Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and New Rochelle, which we consider could be the sixth borough of New York, and all of their contributions. And we got another one about basketball. So talking with people that we wanted to highlight their careers and their contributions and all the game that they've been involved in, we thought was a good way to, segue that. So that's how we came up with the Homage Podcast, to pay respect publicly.
Definitely. And you know what's wild, especially for you, Lo, in this world of how now everybody finds music so fast and you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to, to come across new music and shit. You were one of those dudes that were the source at one point for a lot, you know what I'm saying? A lot of, for everybody's new shit, you know what I mean? Collectively, you were part of a group, that changed the game in the way that we take music in and even acquire our music, so even not only are we peoples, but talking to you is kind of, has a lot to do with shit we're right now. You know what I'm saying? You kind of were one of those groundbreaking people that sort of led us into this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Nah, I mean, just it was a passion. I mean, I went to school for music, broadcast journalism for radio and stuff. So, new music was always something that I, thrived off of. And, even in high school, my sister having a big ass fucking boombox that I would steal from her room next door and just listen to Monday Night Mixtape and, K-Slay shit and, just, Funk Flex. And so those were the people I was trying to emulate when I got to college, having my own radio station and then just transition into having a website where the internet became a lot more disposable for a lot of people. When I was coming up, the blogs weren't really a thing or a tool that we used to discover new artists. So it helped me help other people come up, and it helped me, recognize so many different other artists around the country and around the world, period. So that was just fun to do, and just it kind of bled into a mainstream artist who didn't know what the internet was. Who didn't know how to, work a blog, and who didn't understand, not even work, but just understand the logistics of what a blog was. So,
and now what was the name of your blog? What was the name of it for those that don't know? You heard that new, and that was a part of the new music cartel, right?
Yeah, that was me, Not Right, Miss Info, On Smash, The Jazz One, Exclusive Zones, and 2 Dope Boys.
Yep. And the time before, there's a big difference in the time before you guys and the time after. You know what I'm saying? You can, for those people that were listening to music at the same capacity, before and after, you could kind of see the big difference. The big difference in that. Yeah. So give us a little game on how you transition, how you even got started in that, how did you even make the website, and what drove you there?
Me making a website was just a chance of, or a shot of desperation, because I didn't have a job in the industry. I didn't have a radio job. I didn't have a label job, nothing in entertainment. And because I had so much like relationships with artists from my college radio station, and I had an internship at Bad Boy, so I knew a lot of managers, a lot of artists, you know, just from both of those periods in my life that I still had the access when I came home from school. So I had to make something, like I had to make my own platform. And at the time, a girl I was dating at Rutgers, she said some girl had like got a movie deal or a book deal off a blog she created. And I didn't know what a blog was at the time. So she put me on game. So she helped me create that whole aspect. And then one day I went home and I was talking to a friend of mine who went to American University down in DC. And me and him were really cool. Like, he was a big tech guy. So I asked him one day, I'm like, yo, what do you say to people when you hear new music? And like, he was kind of stumped. And I was like, you say, you know, you heard that new Jay-Z, you heard that new, you know, whomever. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna name the website. And he was like, that's simple, that's easy. He was like, all right, you do all the content, and then I'll take care of like all the business and like the technical aspect of it.
Yeah.
So once he said that, you know, we just ran with it, and it just became this big phenomenon. And then that's my relationship from there grew greater with labels, artists, DJs, and then like Not Right, and then Miss Info, and you know, just DJs around the country and different radio stations. So like, you know, DJ Ski, Justin Incredible, Envy, Clue, Big Mike, Tape Masters Inc., like a bunch of guys who didn't know what the internet was. They came, you know, they kind of like coming to us and, you know, giving us records because they didn't want to get in trouble for putting them on their tape. So we started putting out like records that weren't supposed to be out. That took the heat off of them and kind of put it on us because no one knew who we really were.
Now, what year did all of this take place, and what college were you at? Because I'm like, was it hard for you? Was it hard?
I went to Howard University.
So was it hard for you to find music? Like, did that have anything to do with it? Like, were you coming across a roadblock finding like, let's find a new unreleased shit? Because you probably you know, we around the same age, so you probably from the, you know, the mixtape era where Clue maybe provided a lot of unreleased shit. So like, did that play a role in you creating this, or you know, can you elaborate on that?
I mean, like, the thing about that's interesting is like when we were coming up, you know, mixtapes, like when I was coming to high school, mixtapes were available at like, you know, fucking flea markets and like the local barbershops and everything. So they weren't spreading as fast as they could. So they were being released online. So we would find mixtapes early, and then like I would put out like maybe 2 or 3 joints on my website just to be like, oh, Clue dropped a new tape, or like Flex just dropped something, or Envy and Big Mike, they just dropped this new tape. And then we would put the link up, or we put the whole link up. So once we started doing that at a rapid pace, they started giving us records, you know, we started finding records. And then like some of the artists were giving us records because they knew it would get out there way faster than they ever could do. There was no SoundCloud back then. There was no streaming websites. You know, there was no, I mean, Twitter was just coming up. You know, Twitter was just like really, this is like around 2007, 2008 when things started to bubble. But around 2005 and 6, like we were just getting records from like niggas who hack shit, and niggas who would just leak it to us. So that's why we caught the attention of a lot of DJs, managers, and artists, because they're looking at us like, how did you even get this record yet? Or, you know, this is like around the time when like, you know, when Wayne was dropping like The Drought and all that other shit, and, you know, records were just leaking out from albums that were, you know, unfinished records. Like, and I'm talking like where it's not massive. I'm talking like there's gaps in the record. Like it might be just one verse and like a 3-minute instrumental. Like, we was getting records like water? That. Oh, of course. I got no trouble with I got in trouble with Jeezy. I got in trouble with who else? People are Outkast. That was like from DJ Drama. I got in trouble with Def Jam a lot. I got in trouble with, you know, a lot of new artists that we love now, like the newer guys. We were getting records unfinished from them. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I got when I think it was Fat Matt. He used to run with Big Mike and Tape Masters Inc., and he was the one that did like the Drought is 3. The drought is over. And he sent me that whole shit. So people were looking at us like, how do you even have these records? But no one knew we knew Tape Masters. No one knew we knew Big Mike and Fat Matt. And those were the guys that were getting these records, but they didn't want the heat. So because we were lesser known, we were just taking the heat, like who the hell is LowKey and how did Not Right get that record and how did X, Y, and Z? But then we formed this coalition where if we had a record, we would all drop it at the same time. So if I got a record from somebody and I wouldn't tell them who, I'd be like, yo, I just got this Wayne and Game record. We're going to drop it at 12 o'clock. So like five different websites who, you know, NMC are dropping a record and the whole internet and the industry is looking like, who the fuck, how are these guys getting this? How they getting these records? So we was getting heat from a lot of different directions and the label started getting involved and sending us cease and desist. And then they went and shut down on Smash. Like that was like Thanksgiving or like, I can't remember what year that was, but I remember I was sitting at the table with my pops for Thanksgiving. And I get an email saying like, yo, they shut down on Smash, this, that, and the third. But like, yeah, it got us into a lot of shit. Like, there's endless stories about that.
Yeah, I was like a straight up market disruption.
They hated it. They hated it, man. We was disrupting so many plans. They hated it.
It's crazy though because now that's basically the marketing strategy for everybody right now.
Right. So we helped build a different approach to getting records out there and testing records. I know a lot of these guys would send us records to test just to see like, yo, we want to put this record out, but you ain't get it from us. And we'd be like, all right, fuck it. Like they don't know who we are anyway, so it really don't matter. So we would put it out and the label would send us a cease and desist. But that was just like to test the waters of like to see if a record would work, to see if anybody was fucking with it.
What was the first record that made you realize like, oh shit, all right, we hot now? Like, you know, like when everybody caught it like from your website and, you know, it just spun out of control. Like when you first realized like, all right, you know, we getting a little popping now.
There was a lot of records that I got. I remember one record that really started my relationship with Not Right was Game and Lil Wayne and Game had a record. I forgot what that shit was called, like My Way or something, but it was that record that really got the attention of a lot of people. This Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige record that I put out that I have my tags on. If you go on YouTube, you can still hear my tags on it. I debuted a lot of records, like the Drinking My Two-Step with Cassidy and Kanye, the remix to that. Justin Timberlake and Beyonce Until the End of Time. That shit still has my fucking tags on it somewhere on the internet.
Where that was a big song.
There was another Jay-Z and I want to say Jay-Z and John Legend had a record together that I put out.
I'm sure Justin knows it.
Yeah, a lot of these guys know it. A lot of these guys know it, but you know, just
that's off Kingdom Come album, right?
Nah, a lot of those two records.
It's a good song.
Of those records. No, I know you're talking about Do You Want
to Ride?
Do You Want to Ride? Yeah, that's my shit.
It's the other dude from Kanye's camp. I forgot his name. Fuck. He's a big fucking pianist and he was a vocalist, but he was like kind of behind the scenes.
Got you. I know you talking. I think his name is Tony.
Yes, Tony Williams.
Yes.
Tony Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Tony
really
Williams.
good.
They had a record together that I got my hands on. And then one night, this is when my mother heard about it. This is when it clicked. I debuted the Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige record, and Miss Info put it on Hot 97. And she shouted me out. And then somebody sent me the audio from her show, and I played it for my mother. And my mother heard my name, and she just got paranoid. She was like, "You're not supposed to do that, and why are they saying your name on the radio, and you're gonna get in trouble and all." So like when my mother got worried, that's when I knew, like, you know, I mean, she's into all this shit because of me, but that's when I knew it was kind of like moving in the direction that, you know, it could get a little dangerous.
That's what's up. Yeah, man, it's so dope. Like, 'cause you know, you never realize you making these mega waves when you just doing shit. You know what I mean? You just going about it, right?
We were just having fun. We didn't know that it would. We didn't know what the hell blogs were. We didn't know blogs would end up being what they are today or what they used to be. It was just an outlet for us because we were kids sitting at home. You know, I'm fresh out of college, so I'm just like, I don't have nothing to do. I worked at a hotel at the time, so I was just like trying to figure out a way to break into the industry, and this was the best way I knew how because I was doing it in college. So I just kept doing what I was doing just on a larger scale. And I remember when I was at Bad Boy, this kid I went to Howard with, he was in the A&R department. I used to executive assist Puff. So this was when I formed a relationship with DJ Envy and Tape Masters Inc. This is Mace's first comeback album. I forgot what song it was, but he had sent me the whole project, like a rough version of the whole album. And he was like, yo, I can't do nothing with this, but I know you be doing your thing and shit, so here, take it. So this was like my last summer before I graduated.
The Welcome Back album?
I think it was Welcome Back. Yeah, it was Welcome Back. It was Welcome Back. And I played a bunch of this shit on my college radio station. No, this is after I graduated. I gave it to Tape Masters Inc. And then I gave it to Envy. And then like it blew up off of that. But to this day, niggas didn't know how that shit got out. But I mean, if anybody from the old Bad Boy days watch it, then now you know. But I never gave it.
It's funny though. You did them a favor because nobody was looking for that one.
I'm telling you, like, it was so many records that I got from these guys that they didn't want out, that they had, but they didn't want to put out on their tapes because as soon as they put out their tape, the relationship would get fucked up. So we started taking a lot of heat from the shit that they had. But again, like I said before, no one knew who we were. So it was just like, it was easy for us. And then when we put it out, then they put it out on their tape because like they'd be like, oh, we just got it from these internet niggas. Knowing they got it from, like, we got it from them. So it was just like, it was one hand wiping the other every time.
It's crazy how the leaking situation could turn out. Like, you never know how it got to where it's at. And you hear it, and then, like, it turns into, like, a whole other thing.
I'm telling you, like, you don't know how many hands that shit goes through. Like, I seen records hit our inbox, then I seen records hit their mixtapes, and I seen records hit the radio station. So go through this whole process of just, like, no one wanted to get in trouble. And we were the scapegoat. So we didn't mind because we didn't have jobs at the labels, we didn't have jobs at the radio station. So it was easy for us to be like, fuck it, like, we trying to outdo each other anyway. So if I didn't want to drop it, I give it to Now Right. I'm like, yo, here's a record you might want to drop. It's too close for me. Or niggas be like, yo, here, this record's too big. Like, cause at the time I wasn't as big as Not Right or Miss Info. So they may have not wanted the heat that would have came with it. So, you know, maybe two Dope Boys would have gave me a record, or I would have gave a record to them. But we were just throwing records at each other left and right. And then it was just one time we formed this big ass group email, and it just became that for like 10 years.
It's crazy too, right? Because like from the outside, I used to look at Now Right, I used to look at your website, I used to look at Two Dope Boys, and I thought y'all all had beef with each other. Like I thought like all these websites were like battling, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it was like, oh, y'all stealing my shit, he's stealing his shit. And then I was in Arizona. This is how the clothing brand came about. I was in Arizona for work, and I ended up in this executive office with these kids that made a clothing brand called Bobby Fresh. How I got there was weird. It was long, but nevertheless, while I was there, they were like, "Yo, you ever look here? Like, you from New York? You ever look at this website called Two Dope Boys?" I'm like, looking at them, like, yeah, like I heard of that shit. They're like, "Oh yeah, my man run it," and there was some kid there, like that was a part of it. And I don't know.
Was it Shake?
White kid with a beard?
Nah, I know. Well, Shake. I don't know if he had a beard at the time, but Shake lived in Vegas. So maybe. Yeah. Shake was the only one out of all of us that lived on the West Coast.
Yeah, because he was part of like a whole collective that was making these clothes called Bobby Fresh. Like, and they had like, it was weird to see because in New York, you know, there's no space and everybody's fighting for little things in the studios. They had this huge executive park office with like, I'm not exaggerating, like 20,000 square feet. They was pumping out clothes and this and that. And they also was doing the website thing. And I was like, wow, this is crazy to see how this whole shit works out. And he was like, nah, we don't beef. Like, we all together. And that's when he showed me like the new music cartel. I'm gonna get homeboy.
Yeah, like, so yeah, I mean,
like 10 years ago.
He probably was part of Two Dope Boys because from my knowledge, Shake was the only one on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. And Shake was into, I might be wrong, but Shake was into like art, like graphic design, photography, like web building. So he was the one that helped, construct the whole Two Dope Boy site. But if it's not anybody else, it definitely is Shake.
Yeah. I'm almost positive. I just don't remember his name offhand because it was such like weird experience. Like they almost like kidnapped me. It was mad crazy. They were like, oh, bro. They was like, they came to my hotel. I had met the dude one time, and he was like, I met this other person. He was like, yo, come with us. I'll show you how we make the clothes. I know y'all should fuck with our brand. And I'm like, I'm thinking about trying to make a shirt at that time. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was trying to find a way to make the Dynasty shirt. You know, the Reasonable Doubt. It was written shirt. And he was like, nah, we got a whole printing joint. I'll show you. And I had just met the dude the day before. I get in the car with all these dudes. They brought me down the street. Ain't nothing happened. They just showed me all the shit. They was just like proud. And then coincidentally, the Two Dope Boys thing was involved with that. And he wasn't the guy that brought me. He was just this dude was just sitting at a chair looking at a website. He was like, yo, look at this website. And it's just crazy. I was like, damn, how this whole shit like goes crazy. Like you would never know who's where and who's involved with what and like how you get these music.
Yeah, we never had beef. Like Mech is like one of my best friends. So like that's my guy from way back. Like me and him started DJing and hosting together. So like that's another history we have. But I was chasing those guys. I was chasing Not Right and Two Dope Boys and Miss Info to try to get exclusive records. And every time I put like a post up, this is early in the game, I would like go in their comments and post like, yo, they don't have this, but I got this over here. So it was just like a form of promotion. Like
comment sections were always lit back then. You know that comment section was lit back then.
That's how I got
a lot of terminology that's probably used now that was started in those comments. That's like the Nike talk of hip hop. I look at it like that's for sneakerheads.
I would go in there every time I posted something like, and it wouldn't be just hip hop blogs. I go to Concrete Loop. I go YBF, Nicole Bitchy's site. Fucking
Concrete Loop. Wow.
Yeah, I used to go I used to be in Not Right section just posting links to my shit. Every morning I would do that, like sohh.com, like all that shit. That's how I got like noticed, because that was like I said, Twitter wasn't really a thing where you could promote yourself, or Instagram wasn't a thing where you could promote yourself. So I had to find a way to like get attention. And that's how me and Not Right got cool, because we started communicating and we had the record together and we just put that shit out. But I never, at least on my end, I never had no beef with none of them. Like those are still like my guys to this very day.
Okay, yeah, it's just the way.
We proud of Not Right too, though. We proud of Not Right because that's a Yonkers thing right there.
Yeah, that's
Our good friend Elgin, man, he always tells us that his man SK is, that's his peoples, and they from the south side.
That's like SK.
It has St. Andrews. It has St. Andrews on
Nathan. The family guy.
It has St. Andrews on that street sign that's on the cover. That's that's the block. That's a Yonkers block. So we fuck with Not Right heavy. I was big on Not Right. Every day I check that.
Yeah, SK will always tell us about Yonkers and is running with the locks and is running with different niggas from up there, and then Nation started running with OVO niggas like early on, like when they had their website, and like Noel and them was doing the website, and that's when So Far Gone came out. But the Nation was giving us little information pieces about Drake and about OVO, and him and Drake are, I guess they still cool to this day, but he was around, especially during like Thank Me Later and Take Care. So that's how we knew about what Drake was doing.
That era, that was a really, really great era, because a lot of those artists, they grew to be, huge. Yeah. I remember like back then, I was dropping a lot of Wale shit. A lot of like
Big Sean, Kid Cudi, Mickey Fax, Asher Roth.
Yeah, Mickey Fax, word.
Even like Nipsey, like I met Nipsey back in 2009.
Oh yeah, back then. Wow. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of artists that you guys were playing their music at way back then, and I was listening to it. Artists that I really
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah,
fucking Charles Hamilton. Like so many. Yes, my man Leroy brought Charles Hamilton to me, and DJ Ski did like 3 or 4 mixtapes with him. I met Charles a couple times, but like that was
he was a big artist. Like he was one of those first internet artists that like had a thing, like the whole Sonic the Hedgehog and wearing
and all that dropping mixtapes. He dropped so many mixtapes, and that's how you knew.
He's the dude that went viral with the girl thing.
Like he started
before that was
he went
before that
viral
was
for
even
a couple different things. Yeah, he went viral a couple different times. I think. Different shit.
Before he started tripping out or whatever, like that nigga was dropping music like that, like and his shit was fucking dope. But like him and like
he's
DJ
a Harlem
Ski.
kid though, right? He's from Harlem, right? Yeah, he's from Uptown. I fucked with him. I fucked with his come up at the time.
Nah, but no, I want to backtrack a little bit. You said when you was at Bad Boy, you was executive assistant for Puff?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was during his Vote or Die days. So,
oh shit.
Well, this is like around 04, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
Because this was like right when I was.
You had one of those tees. Everybody had one of those T-shirts.
So this was like I'm like about to leave school. I think I did like a summer internship there. But that was fun because it was just like traveling with him and like being around New York with him and just like watching what he did and just like how he moved and how he worked was just like was crazy. I remember the first time my first day there, his assistant, I was a junior executive assistant, so his assistant was like, I mean, you're gonna meet Puff today. So I'm like, all right, like cool. So I had to like get this nigga's food and like put it on a tray and like this, that, and the third. So I walk into his office and he's on the phone. So I put the tray down in front of him and I kind of got starstruck and I just sat there and like I'm looking at him while like my hand is on the tray. And this nigga looks up and gets off the phone and says, yo, you can leave now. And I was like, oh, my fault. Like, you just like, cause I'm just looking at this nigga yell at somebody on the phone and I'm not really thinking. I'm just like, oh, this nigga Puff. And like, I'm in the building with this nigga Puff. So that was like my first experience, but just watching him and getting cool with all his like, you know, executives and like, you know, the DJs, the A&Rs. I forgot that's how I met Hemrock. I know y'all know who Hemrock is.
Yeah.
That's how I met Hemrock. A bunch of guys that aren't around today, but that was like my first, you know, real internship. And I did an internship at Sony Music Studios where it's like I was sitting in sessions with Eve and fucking Cash Money and all these different artists. Like, so it's like I have like a lot of experience. I just don't really talk about it too much.
No, definitely.
Yeah, but that's why we wanted to highlight it, because I feel like a lot of young people, you know what I'm saying, when they look at people that's doing things and they don't realize that there's so much that went into their life. You know, there's so much effort and trials and tribulations and a road that you really had to travel on. You know what I mean? And you know, we wanted to like let people know like there's more than just the end of the situation. You know what I mean? There's more than just blah blah blah. It's like you got to really put work in. You really love something, you really got to go for it.
Yeah, if I had Twitter back then, like y'all would have seen a lot of shit. If I had Instagram back then, like it'd have been so many fucking videos and viral moments and like just. I remember I was in Puff office. He was about to go to Sancho Pay, and you know that big ass diamond necklace he has. It's not like the links are just diamonds, and the cross is like a huge ass diamond pendant. He was leaving for vacation, and the necklace had got stolen. Like the day he's leaving. So someone in the office stole the necklace, and they locked down the office. So they wouldn't let nobody leave until they found the chain. And I saw the chain. Like I actually held the chain, and I had to put it in this big ass like white plastic bag to get to the assistant, which I did. So I didn't do it. I didn't steal the shit. But I had to give it to her, and then she took it, and I guess she lost it, or somebody lost it. But he had this whole fucking like investigation. He brought us to this abandoned building and gave us a fucking lie detector test. Like every employee had to go through
like an episode
detector.
of Making a Band or some shit.
Bro, I'm telling you, like me working over there was making a band before making a band. Like the nonsense I had to do for this nigga, like I had to go to his fucking condo in Midtown and help pack his fucking luggage. Like this nigga's house was like a big ass like church type thing. His ceilings were like 60 feet in the air. His like the room that we was packing his clothes in just had nothing but sneakers, and we had to pick out specific sneakers. Like it was just like a lot of just like random shit I was doing with Puff. I had to take care of I had to babysit his kids and drive his fucking Escalade truck that had the fucking Jacob clock in the middle, right in the dashboard. Like I'm seeing all this shit like for the first time, like not knowing like how rich this man really is. But you know, I've seen this nigga in the office kicking boxes and screaming at people. Like it's like the story just off of that is like insane.
So you was around like Justin and King Combs and them when they were little?
I was around them when they were babies.
Wow.
So like they was in the office and like just sitting with them, like babysitting them while Puff was on conference calls and before they had to go home. So like I had to watch them while he was working. And like that was the blunt of my job. Like I wasn't really like some executive assistant. I was like the babysitter, getting food and making phone calls and getting packages and running to this label and running to this radio station to do nonsense. So
I mean, everything has its perks, right? Everything has its perks.
Yeah,
I'm sure you caught some records while you were over there too.
Yeah, I heard a lot of shit. But like that's how my leaking got crazy because my man took the Mace CD and gave it to me. He was like, I can't do nothing with this because I don't have a website or I don't have a radio station, but I know you can do something with it. So he took that shit off his boss's desk. He was like, it was at the end of the day when no one was there. He was like, yo, take this shit because I heard them playing it. It's got a lot of Mace shit. So I took that shit and ran with it and never looked back. I don't think I've been back to the office since.
That was the final call.
Right. I was like, all right, that's it. That's because they also didn't offer me a job when I graduated. I was like, man, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Really? Did you ever end up working at a label?
No, that was the closest thing I ever worked to at a label. Bad Boy was that was my only label experience. Because I knew working over there, I knew I didn't want to be at a label because I just didn't want to like chase niggas around. I didn't want to be a manager. I wanted to do A&R, but it just took so much to get into that position that I was like, this is gonna take like the rest of my life. Like we got selected through like this program, and I got placed into Puffy's department, and my man got placed into A&R. And at the time, I didn't know what A&R really meant. I just knew Puff ran a label, so I kind of requested like, oh, I want to work for Puff or whatever. So they was like, all right, you'll be his junior executive assistant. So it was just like so many different people came through as his top assistants and top executive assistants. I seen him fire people. I seen him yell at people. I see people curse niggas out, like demean people. Like this nigga's a fucking, like he's a psycho. Like Puff is a real fucking psycho. And to this day, I know this nigga. Like I saw him at the Bad Boy reunion concert at Barclays a couple years ago. And my mother stopped him in the hallway. And my mom was drunk. So she was like, you don't remember my son? And I'm like 5 feet behind her. I'm like, yo, please don't do this. And he looks back. He was like, oh, that's the Ivy kid. She was like, yeah, that's my son. So like, he was like, oh yeah, I remember him. He was there for the Vote or Die days and this, that, and the third. But it was like, those are the memories. Like I can still see this nigga today and like, we could chop it up. But you know, it's a bunch of stories.
Yeah, no, that shit makes you, because if you can do those things for somebody else, you can do everything you want to do for your own self. And
you just get that drive. You get that drive, man, and you see how much work it takes to put together a label or a company or, you know, just anything. You just see how much work these niggas really put in. And I think nowadays, because we look at social media and it's like, if you don't see it, then they didn't do it. And it's like, I didn't see a lot of shit. I know who put in work. I know who sacrificed. I know who was really in the fucking trenches and putting shit together. But, and not to say other niggas weren't, but like I said, with social media nowadays, if you don't brag about it, if you don't talk about it, it's like, man, you ain't working or you ain't doing nothing or you ain't accomplishing shit. And that's why I hate really social media, because it's like, you got to announce shit. It's like, niggas wasn't announcing shit back in the day. They was just doing it. You know what I mean? The only way you would announce the shit was like, fucking through BT or fucking Hot 97 or, you know what I mean? Like shit like that, video music box. Yeah. So now everybody's got their own companies and everybody got their own labels, and it's just like everybody's doing the same fucking thing. But back in the day, you had to be fucking thorough to really survive it. Like, especially in the 90s and the 2000s, like that shit wasn't easy.
It's funny how the kids now coin the term like, you know, we outside and all this shit, and it's like we was really outside. Like you really had to go do something to see it, to experience it.
I wanted to be inside. I was tired of being outside. I was outside all fucking day running around for these dudes, man. Niggas ain't built for internships nowadays. I tell you that much. The type of internships we was doing back in the day, like nigga, these kids nowadays wouldn't even. They so fucking entitled.
Different.
Yeah, they entitled and like they just want everything so quick. And I was just like, man, like I'm in the building, so whatever I gotta do, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like coming in on the weekends and sending out invites, calling people for like voter die registration and like just nonsense, like this, like staying in the office from like 9 in the morning to like 8 at night and making phone calls, trying to get people to post parties. And people look at that as secretary work, but it's like, would you rather do that or just be in the crib complaining about how no one want to give you a chance? It's like, how to decide what chance you want to take and what's right for you. And I'm not saying you got to do everything, but if it leads in the direction and the path that you want to go down, then you're going to have to sacrifice at some point.
You definitely paid your dues, man. Had to pay those dues.
Yeah, that's it was fun though, but you know, I'd do it all over again if I could.
So hold on, I'm curious, right? Like, so the website, you know, had a mean run. How long was it like really popping for?
I want to say I had a good 8 to 9 year run.
That's a long time, dog.
We started in 2005, and I kind of like straight off at around 14, 15, or like 13, 2013, because I started hosting. So I kind of scaled back because like I was outside too much. I was running around hosting stuff and just doing random shit. So like I couldn't be on the computer every day, and I couldn't be, you know, wait for shit. So then I would hire people, but then it's like it's not the same when people don't have like the same vision, or they're just looking for experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you create something from the bottom up, you want it to look and sound and feel a specific way. And you know, and the shouts to everybody that helped out with the website, but you could just tell that some people that were writing weren't really invested. They just wanted the notoriety and the name attachment, you know, because I wrote with a different passion. And I wrote with, you know, I loved what I did, and not to say they didn't, but you could just tell through the cloth of certain people that they're there for the wrong reasons. So when I started noticing that, I was just like, man, this is not, and the internet kind of like the blog era kind of started not to fade out, but like it wasn't just the same as what we were doing back in 07, 08, 09. You know, and people were getting in a lot more trouble. Labels were like suing people and taking websites down. So the last thing I wanted was my website to get seized by the fucking government or by the record labels because, you know, of whatever the case is. So I kind of just let it die out and just let it be a nice little memory. So.
But you evolved though, right? You know, you evolved, you know, you started out there, but eventually you had to evolve the same way that everything else evolved. So
yeah,
you got out that game, you know.
Yeah, it put me in a nice position. It put me into an actual job with BT. That's where I started using my degree as a broadcast journalist. So I started writing and doing interviews, and that's when, and I was doing the website at the same time as well. So it got me into a lot of like different doors, and it got me into a lot of different opportunities where I could double up on the content. So I would use the BET content, and then I could also use it for my website, because my website is what got me into the doors at BET. So, and that's when Twitter started to be a real big thing. That's when, you know, people started tweeting from award shows and all this other stuff. So, and that's when like the flip cam stuff was happening and all this other stuff. So like I've I've been a part of different digital eras over the past, 15, 20 years, I guess you could say.
Definitely. That's real shit. How was the BET experience?
BET experience was a lot more polished. It was a lot more, you know, corporate. There were a lot more rules involved. It was a structure. So any corporate structure has rules and regulations, and you have to keep relationships. Certain things you can say, certain things you can't, just to not upset the artist. So like that, I had a hard time dealing with that, because on my website, I would say what I wanted and do what I wanted. But on BET, I'm around these artists now. So they're seeing me, they're attaching my name. So like I had a blog called Sound Off on BET. So I would write shit on the blog, or I would debut records, and they were like, you can't do that because that fucks up the relationship between us and the artist. Like I was leaking stuff from Def Jam, and I got banned from Def Jam events for like 6 months because I leaked like different videos and records. So that kind of put me in a lot of hot water. But I kind of like not got fired, but I got like laid off because like they were changing the structure and they were changing like the whole regime over there. So it's like I felt like they used that as an excuse to let me go. Yeah. But they gave me a severance, so like I wasn't tripping, but like I could tell things were changing. Like that's when like Instagram was coming up and Twitter was like really a thing. So like their content was more like visual driven. So like they wanted, like we had these things called flip books, and every Monday we had to put up pictures from the weekend. So like if it was a party, a concert, a release event or whatever, we had to do that shit. And I felt like it started turning into a gossip blog. And every fucking week I'd fight my boss. I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I'm not a gossip blogger. I'm not Nicole Bitchy. I'm not YBF. That's not what I'm here for. Like, I want to drop records and I want to talk music. I want to talk like, mixtape and radio shit. But they were like, no, that this is what we do. This is BT. So I was like, I just could tell what I was known for was getting watered down. And then that's when I started like kind of transitioning into like hosting events, because I was out at every event, every open bar event, every event that I got invited to, I went to. So that's how I kind of made my transition into like being on stage and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, now, go ahead, Joe.
No, so I was about to say. So now that's next. Like, I think the last time I saw you, you were just getting that going.
Mm-hmm.
That was now, So tell us about what the next phase of LowKey with the hosting and the trap karaoke and all the other things that came along with with that journey of yours.
The hosting thing came from pretty much goes back to my relationship with Mecca. Me and Mecca, he lived in Brooklyn. Well, he lived in Harlem. I lived in Jersey at the time. So we would host a lot of shows at SOBs. And I remember the first show that me and him did together was at Santos Party House on Lafayette, which is like shut down now. But he was doing an event with Dallas Penn, and I was just there to support him.
DP, we love DP.
Yeah. I was on stage with him at the time. Yeah, I love Dallas. Yeah, Dallas is one of the OGs.
That's the homie.
Yeah. So I was on stage with him one night with Mec, and Dallas was hosting the event. So Dallas had left to go to another event. So Mec looks to me. He was like, yo, I got to switch over, and it's going to be like 5 minutes of dead air. Like, can you get on the stage and talk? I'm like, at this point, I'm not hosting. I'm just like going out and just going to events and shit. So he was like, yo, you got to talk. You got to talk. I'm like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm not a host. I don't know what you want me to do. So he's like, just talk to him, just entertain the crowd for a minute. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm drunk. So I'm just like, asking like regular bullshit questions. Where y'all from? How's everybody doing tonight? And then that just led me to like staying on stage, and actually ended up hosting the event for the rest of the night. So at the time I used to live in Jersey. So I always have to leave the city by 12, or wherever I was at, I have to leave by 12 to get to Port Authority by 1, because that was my last bus. So I leave, I'm walking through the crowd, and this white dude stops me. He says, yo, when's your next event? I'm like, this is not my event. I'm just, I was just helping my man out. He was like, nah, you're a host, right? I was like, no. He was like, well, you did a great job. Like, when's the next event? I want to come to the event. So I got his number, and I was like, all right, I'll text you and I'll let you know. Like, damn, no, I didn't have an event. So I'm just like talking shit with this nigga. But then me and Mec had a conversation like a couple weeks later. He was like, yo, we could like start hosting stuff. So we started traveling. Like, we started doing shows for SOBs for like a year and a half. Every show at SOBs, we were the ones doing it. He was DJing, I was MCing, and we did Kendrick Lamar's first show ever at SOB. Yeah, we did Kendrick. This was like in 2009, I think. We did his first show ever. And then we
definitely been to a couple of those.
Yeah, so we just started. Events. Yeah, we started doing all of that shit for a couple years. Traveled to South by a couple of times, Florida, Atlanta. And then that's when the Palooza thing started to happen. We started doing that. That was a game night, because I was hosting so much. So my man Cam, who was the founder of it, was like, yo, I'm gonna do this game night one night, just bring some chicken and some Henny or whatever. So we in there partying and chilling and having a good time. And my man Kaz, he was like, yo, we should move the tables and turn the lights out, because there was mad people in there. So we moved the tables, put all the shit to the side, and that shit just turned into a full-fledged party. My man Genius and my man Austin DJ'd it. And then like the next morning we woke up, there was like 90 bottles of empty Hennessy in the back. And, this when Twitter, like I said, Twitter was really starting to climb up. So this is when hashtags were a thing, like a big, big thing. So the next morning, my man Chris Fox, he's like, yo, check out the hashtag. We like, what the fuck is a hashtag? So we pressed the hashtag, says Henny Palooza. And it's so many people like, yo, what is this? Yeah. And why was I invited? And when's the next one? So it just went from that to just like, we did another one, like maybe a couple months later, did another one.
Yeah.
And then we started traveling, and that shit went on for about 4 or 5 years. And then, you know, Rock Nation came over and started hollering at us, and then we formed a deal. You know, the rest is history. But that, like, again, social media it drove
For sure.
what we were doing back then, and we weren't
All
party
digital.
promoters. You know, we didn't have budgets. Everything was literally digital. You know, just taking the flyer and texting it to people, like, yo, spread this around. Like,
oh no, it was definitely organic. And I remember those first couple of ones, man. We was in that Harlem Brownstone. It used to go down in there.
That was the third one we did. That was Uptown 145th.
That was the first one I went to. I brought Doe with me because Jamal, it was like, yo, just come to my mans and them got this thing going on, and it's gonna be dope. And we pulled up, and I had spoken to Cam a little bit before that, and I was like, yo, let me make you a shirt for the event. So I literally made him a 101 shirt that had, like, since 1982, like a Henny Palooza thing on it. I don't know if he got it, but yeah, he wore that day. And I was like, yo, this is some shit. That thought he was lit. I can't front.
Yeah,
I remember, I think I forgot which 1982 shirt I had on. It was the blue joint with the orange. I forgot what names were on it, though.
It was probably the Dynasty shirt, because back then we only had like few designs. Yeah. And we just was pumping a lot of different colors. The albums,
The album. Yeah. So I remember like that shit was last night. I had the Dynasty shirt, I had a Mets hat, and I had these stonewashed jeans that were ugly as shit. I don't know why I was wearing them. And these Timbs, and I remember coming out the party and my Timbs were just drenched, like just pitch brown. But that shirt, I remember that shirt, like that was one of my favorite shirts. I had it in blue and I had it in black. And then I got the red one that has like the class of 96 or the class of, I forgot what class it was, but yeah, I think it was class of 96 with Iverson, Steve Nash.
Oh yeah, the draft piece.
The draft, yeah. That's my favorite one. I still have that shit now, but yeah, that was that party I wore the Dynasty one too. But that was our third party that we did Henny Palooza with.
Yeah, that was we got to see it. Me and Doe got to see it firsthand, like how organic it was. You know, it was like we just, you needed a Hennessy bottle to get in, and you know what I'm saying. It was a whole thing. That shit was dope.
And that was the same thing with the blog era. Like, we didn't know what this was going to turn into. We just knew that we didn't have too much access to shit. We all were dope at what we did. I was a good host. Came through parties when he went to University, or I think it was Buffalo State or some shit in Buffalo. My man Genius and HD, great DJ, and then we just came together and just started like making up jobs for each other. Like, this one's responsible for the talent. This one's responsible for the door. This one's responsible for getting the liquor. So like we just started like becoming an entity throughout the years. And like I had no experience because I didn't really party back in the day like that, like in college. But these niggas was partying and throwing parties all over the place. So me and Mecca was also a part of it too. He was DJing for us. So I would just like get on the mic and just talk shit. And like I was learning out as I was going. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was teaching myself how to fucking host and how to read a crowd, and the knowledge of music comes back to you because you got to know what records to talk shit about, and you know who's on the record or introducing the record, like stuff like that. But like Henny, you know, the Palooza brand helped me become like the host I am today. So that's always like that's always gonna play a special part.
How'd you transition? Like, how did trap karaoke come out of that? Like, that
came out of again, you know, just from the Palooza thing. You know, people seeing me host Palooza. You know, the man that created trap karaoke, his name is Jason. He helped put together this festival called Trilectro in DC, and that's when he first hired me. This is big ass festival in DC. Travis Scott actually performed on it. A$AP Ferg and A$AP Rocky were there. So through there, me and him developed a relationship, and he was like, "Yo," him and my boy Della came up with this idea, you know, called Trap Karaoke, and you know, they were like, "Yo, we want Lo to host it." And at the time, I didn't know what it was. It was just like some hip hop karaoke shit. When you go to karaoke bars, you can't find Jeezy, you can't find T.I. or Snoop Dogg or whatever. So they were like, "Yo, we're gonna do one for us," and that shit just fucking skyrocketed. It just took off. Like we did one in Brooklyn like twice, and then we just started traveling. Like DC was our first time. I think DC was the first place we went when we traveled with Trap Karaoke, and then it just became this big ass phenomenon. So that was for like maybe I was a part of that for about 4 years, from like 2000 15, 16 to about 2019, and then we parted ways. But that was a crazy experience.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy because these are such interactive things, like, and now with everything that's going on now, you feel me? Like, how do you see this going forward with all of it? Because all the parts of music lead to like people interacting and you know, just enjoying the energy, like trap karaoke, whether it's Duce Palooza or trap karaoke or any other venue with people, you know, just enjoying each other's energy within that space. What do you see it going from there? Because, you know, that's your thing. You rock the crowd. So how do you see that playing out from here on out?
I mean, honestly, I don't know how it plays out, because there's no safe way of getting people back into closed corner spaces without knowing if the outcome is people are going to get sick, or, you know, people, or if these venues even have the capacity to even put on these events anymore, because a lot of businesses, a lot of spaces and, you know, even venue spaces are getting, you know, they're closing down, because, you know, even it's only been since February we've been locked. It's only been about 3 or 4 months, not even 4 months. It's been like 3 months, and people are already, you know, we see all these festivals getting closed down, like Dreamville got canceled and Coachella got canceled, and I think they're about to postpone Summer Jam, and it's so many in concerts, just artist concerts are getting canceled. So it's like, you can't call it until, you know, the health conversation is had. We don't know when this ends. We don't know. There's new cases being developed every fucking day. So it's like, I personally don't see this opening up until next year. You know what I mean? Because unless like this shit just drops out and just goes away, which is highly, you know, unacceptable, it's not going to happen. But now that's why you see everybody on Instagram Live doing the DJ shows and like the at-home concerts, and, you know, Tory Lanez doing the YouTube concert he did a couple weeks ago. You could start to see who's innovative and who's, you know, in tune with technology. But a lot of people do rely on, you know, face-to-face and being outside, and it's like, now you got to keep up. It's like the reinvention of like what the industry is. You know what I mean? If you're not tech savvy, if you're not digital savvy, you're going to struggle. And some people are just better outside. Some people are better at throwing events. Some people are better at putting things together. But then there's this other side of the core that can flourish, you know, with a Zoom party or Zoom brunch party, or, you know, house party that, like we were just talking about earlier. You know, those things. They had that concert this past weekend. They had a big ass concert with like Alicia Keys, I think. The Baby was in there. They had all these different things that the artists were doing, and that's where these entities come in and have to switch up the game. Like Live Nation just laid off 1,000 employees or whatever, because they can't put events on anymore. So now you're starting to see who's adjusting to the times and who's going to drown, and it's not no fault to their own. It's just what the time that we're in.
Definitely. Now, you have anything up your sleeve that you got coming for the next one?
Right now, honestly, my nigga, like it's this is day by day. This is not, you can't plan none of this shit. Like none of this shit is planned out. I can't sit here and tell you like, you know, tomorrow or next month we're gonna do this and a third, because like I said, this pandemic could be done at the end of May, or it could go on until fucking Thanksgiving. So
for sure.
Things
now,
that,
on the other end of that, did you have anything that's on hold, like anything that you were about to come with, like that you were about to say, oh, when I do this, you know, whenever I come with this, you know, it's gonna fuck it up, and now you gotta sort of put it on hold?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I was working on that was supposed to be, you know, coming to fruition, and like deals and, you know, events that I wanted to do. But, you know, because I'm so heavy in digital, because I do Apple Music stuff, like I've been fortunate enough to be able to work from home and do broadcasts from home. And, you know, I've been attached to a couple new shows now over at Apple, and then I created the whole cheat sheet shit with the Versus battle. So that's keeping me busy. So that's allowed me to still make money, you know, from the comfort of my couch, and also still to have the passion, you know, that I love for music. And now it's kind of re-energizing, you know, why
it's funny.
Music.
Hold on. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that cheat sheet, because I sent it to Justin over the week before the battle. The versus battle. I sent him the cheat
but
sheet.
I wanted to ask you something, like, to backtrack real quick.
Yeah.
You had a relationship with Nipsey, right? Like, you met him and
I met him. I met him back. I met him back in 2009.
Didn't we give, like, Ed gave you a hat, and then he, like, that we wanted you to give to him, that we made the LA version of the hat, and then he took the NY hat of ours or whatever from you or something like that? Did he take the wrong hat?
I don't know. I remember him wearing the LA hat at Palooza.
Okay, because I thought it was the other way around. Like, I thought, like, he took the wrong, like, he wore the wrong hat.
He bought the New York hat.
No, he bought the New York hat in Vinny Styles, and we had carried up there. But I thought, well, like, I remember Ed was telling me, like, oh shit, like Nipsey did the wrong, like, he was like all confused with you, and he didn't know he took the wrong hat or some shit like that.
I don't know. I'm not familiar, but I do know he had that LA hat on when we did the Palooza in LA.
Oh, okay.
He did have the LA hat on. And I can go look at the photo after we get off, but I do remember him wearing one of your hats. I could say that.
Yeah.
He
wore a bunch of shit. Yeah. He wore a bunch of shit later, but it was specifically the LA one because we never dropped it. You know what I'm saying? We never released it.
So I gotta look at the pictures, but I definitely know he had one of your hats on when he performed. When he performed with us, because I remember it was me, him, his mans, and Kaz. We were on stage with him when he performed. And he performed at Palooza like 3 times, I think.
Oh, I didn't know it was that many times. Where?
Yeah, he performed at Palooza about 2 or 3 times. But yeah, like I said, I met Nipsey back in 2009, and this is a funny story. I won't hold you up too long. So I met him again through Tape Masters Inc. and Fat Matt. So I forgot what studio it was, but it was like on 48th and like 9th or some shit on the west side. So my man was like, yo, I was in the city at the time. He was like, yo, this kid from Crenshaw wants you to meet. I'm like, who? He was like, name's Nipsey Hussle. So I'm like, all right, like, cool. Like, let's go meet him. So we go to the studio, we go upstairs, and we open the elevator door opens, and some kid runs into the elevator with a gash on his head, like split open, like completely split open. So now I'm looking, I'm like, what the fuck y'all got me walking into? Like, this is why I don't come to studios like this, because it's like, this is the type of shit I'm afraid of. So we go, like, the dude closes the door, he goes downstairs. So we walk to the studio door, and it's blood on the fucking wall. Like, there ain't nothing but blood on the wall. And I'm just like, all right, guys, like, this ain't. They're like, nah, just thug it out. I'm like, all right, like, whatever. So we knock on the door, and we just hear, like you can hear somebody wrestling in there. Or like, you can hear, like, something is going on, like, shit's being thrown. Yeah. You hear niggas screaming shit. So we like, all right. So I forgot who opened the door, but they opened it mad calm. And another dude runs out. So we like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck y'all got me involved in? So we walk in, studio's ransacked. Like, just, like, you can tell some shit happened. And all I hear when the doors close is like, rolling 60s, rolling 60s, rolling 60s. That's all I hear. And at the time, they didn't tell me this nigga was gang affiliated. So I'm just thinking like, oh, this nigga is from the West Coast. Like, all right, whatever. Nigga is like yelling rolling 60s. That's how I fucking knew what that was. I'm like, okay. So I get in there, studio's ransacked, this, that, and the third. And here comes Nipsey, like, from out the back. Like, you could tell he was tussling a little bit. Like, not saying he did all the damage, but you could tell, he was in the mix. Daps me up. He was like, what up, cuz? My name is Nipsey. And I'm like, yo, pleasure to meet you, this, that, and the third. And from that day on, that's like, Nipsey he had a record with fucking Sean Kingston, like, way back in the day. I forgot what record that was called. But, yeah, that's when I met him. And ever since then, like, every time I would go to LA, Karen Civil, really, really good friend of his, or, I would, like, randomly see him. Like, he would, just always remember who I was. And I remember I went to this dinner with him and Nick Cannon, and Karen brought me to. We got a couple pictures together, and then that's when he started to come to the Paloozas, because Karen Silver was a really good friend of me and Kazza. So we would ask Karen, and Karen would make the plug, and rest in peace. But that, he was a cool ass, down to earth, just smart, just in tune with the culture, community driven, like a real ass nigga, not to sound, but that nigga was just down to earth and just was about his shit. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he showed it, right? Like you could hear something was going on, but he immediately came and showed you like respect, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like somebody had stole something. I think the two of the dudes that had ran out had stole one of his laptops, or they had found out that one of the dudes had stole a laptop of his, and they got the niggas in there and did what the fuck they had to do. But like his whole demeanor just switched up when we walked in. Like it wasn't nothing like who the fuck are y'all? Because that's why he was there. I think he was there. He had a session or whatever. He was there, and I think Matt or one of my guys from Tape Master Inc. had told him that like, yo, we're gonna bring LowKey by. We want you to meet him. He's a big blogger, this and the third. So they knew I was coming by, but I guess that shit had got, you know, that was priority before we had walked in.
That's dope. That's a dope story, man. Definitely R.I.P. to Nip, man. He was definitely loved. You know what I'm saying? Young legend.
Yeah, we was so close to going like a lot of steps further with collaborating with him, and you know, just things just, you know, obviously went left with his whole situation. And
Nip's my guy, man. I'm missing it.
But on a happier note, man, like I told you, I was checking out the cheat sheet. So I sent it. It's coincidentally that I sent it to Justin too, because I was like, you know, I didn't know that you were putting that together.
I mean, I knew.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, but I didn't know. So, I sent it to Justin, and I just want to know what you think. What goes in your head when you hear about these versus battles and you have to put these playlists together? You know.
I mean, like, to be frank with you, I started doing those when they first started happening. Like when Swizz did it, when they first did it, like with Swizz and Timbo, like just for fun, they were just fucking around. We were just on Instagram Live, just like listening to them talk about the stories and like them play the records, which was dope. And then the next one that happened was Boy Wonder and Hit Boy, and like they started like really, you know, going places with this shit. So like by those two, I didn't make a cheat sheet yet. The cheat sheet started was when The Dream and Sean Garrett did their battle.
Yeah.
That was my first cheat sheet, and that was like the funniest battle of all. But
yeah, that was the craziest one.
Yeah, I was just doing it because one night I was drunk, and I was like, yo, it would be a good idea if I put together a playlist that highlights every record that they did, or a majority of the records that they did that we forgot about. Because just between those two, Sean and The Dream.
Yo,
hold on, love. I can't hear you. Did your AirPod die? You can hear me? Joe, you can hear him?
I can't hear. I can only hear you.
Hold on 1 second. It's a good story. I don't want it to get messed up.
I took you right low. You hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, we good now.
Oh yeah, we good.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, we good.
No, so yeah, I was like, the way I was putting it together was just like, I wanted to do a record after, like, person after person. So I would do Sean, The Dream, Sean, The Dream, Sean, The Dream, Sean, The Dream. Because, like, you know, you put playlists together, you just throwing records on there, and it's like there's no orders, no sequence, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me just do it back and forth. And I was just doing it. I was just drunk. So I was just like, man, I'm in the crib listening to records. Like, oh, I forgot about this. Let me put that. And then it became a thing. So then I did one for Neo and Jonte Austin. Then I did one for, you know, for everybody else. Scott Storch, Manny Fresh, RZA, Premier. I forgot the other one, Jill Scott and, you know, Erica. And then this most recent one, Nelly and Ludacris. But it wasn't until I did the Erica and Jill one, because that's when Apple Music like actually employed me to do it.
Gotcha.
Because then Apple started collaborating with Versus. So now they were like, this is the Versus cheat sheet. So now it's a thing where people look forward to it when these battles are announced. So now it's like a fucking job, because now
don't worry, man. I help you with that, bro. It's easy. We do it for free over here. We do it for free over here.
It makes sense though, because we've seen in these last few months that these battles just take these people's streaming numbers off the charts. You know, their music gets like like rebirthed a little bit, you know, a whole new audience gets to like live it over and over again, and they numbers, the Erykah Badu and Jill Scott numbers went crazy.
And it's a reintroduction.
Yeah, I think they went up like 2 million.
And it's a reintroduction to some, you know, because some people it might be their first time, you know, catching some.
And we can't forget about the Teddy Riley and Babyface one.
Yeah, Teddy. Yeah, I forgot about them. But like, that's the thing. It's like that's one of the methods to my cheat sheet, because you only playing 20 records during the battle to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. So my cheat sheets are at least no less than 4 hours. All my cheat sheets are 4 hours or more. Wow. So the biggest one I did was Nelly and Luda, and that was 7 hours long with like 108 songs. And you're just forgetting all these records that these niggas put together from, like, they've been in the game 20 plus. So like you gotta think how long I'm just sitting here going through every album, every remix, every feature, every Lucy single, whatever, every B-side single. And I'm not saying like I'm a fucking wizard at it, but it's just like, if you're not a fan of music, like, this shit ain't gonna be fun to you. It's just like, damn, I gotta add this on. But like, I'm in the fucking crib blasting the music while I'm putting it together, drinking and shit, because the artists that I'm listening to, like, I'm going back to the college days. Like, Teddy Riley and Babyface was like insane to me, because just off of the records Babyface wrote and off of the records Teddy Riley wrote, like, I gotta incorporate that. The records they produce, I gotta incorporate that. And then you gotta think about their albums alone, like Guy for Teddy Riley, Blackstreet, and then you got Babyface, who had multiple, the Whispers,
multiple soundtracks too.
Yeah, that soundtracks, you know, Tony Braxton, Whitney, Boyz II Men, TLC, Pebbles. Like, it's just like so much, but it's like teaching me what I forgot. And it's like you said, the young niggas are starting to understand how important this shit is.
Word.
You know what I mean? So like, I do take pride in putting these together, because it's like showing how much I love music. It's showing how much music they made, and it shows how important and how influential these guys still are, and women like Jill Scott and Erykah Badu, how much impact and influence they still have. So
it's like what we're doing. That's what we trying to pay homage. That's what this whole, you know what I'm saying?
I have no problem. You know? I have no problem doing any of this
and
shit. It's fun.
And the thing that I love, that, you know, I love about this is because I personally don't like to, you know, put music against time. So like, you know, I don't like these artists. I don't feel like they necessarily need to be making the best music out right now, because they already put their major contribution in, which has led to, well, you know, which has helped music evolve. So I don't, you know, I like that they get to showcase their music, you know, and show everybody, you know, this is what it is, because there's a lot that Jill Scott and Erykah Badu thing, man. You can just sit there and just vibe to it. And that was that.
There's so many stories. There's so many stories. Yeah, that's the most important part to me, because, you know, Teddy Riley was talking about making records when he was 17 years old.
And like the show, I didn't know he made the show with Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, like, these are the records that we love and that our parents loved and our parents, you know, listened to. Like, Johnny Kemp was my mom's favorite record, Just Got Paid. And I remember hearing that shit growing up, and you know, just hearing that growing up. So it's like,
and New Jack Swing in general is just such a major thing. New Jack Swing was a major thing for our childhood, you know, like the way it just that helped push everything forward, you know what I mean? And that led to Bad Boy, and that, you know, in your situation, you know what I mean?
And the New Jack Swing, you know, is still alive today, because you look at Cardi and Bruno, what they did with that record. But it's so much influence, just with songwriting with Babyface and Teddy Riley and production. You know,
legendary.
The hook masters like T-Pain and Little John killing hooks and just having records that they own. And then, you know, songwriting abilities between Jonte and Neo and Sean and The Dream. And then you got RZA and Premier, like two of the kings of fucking,
that was the
hip. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many different pockets.
Yeah, and I feel like the listener is the only winner in this situation. You know, is the only winner.
You can't really say any. You can look at it and be like, oh, like that record beat this record, or he should have played this. But like, these are concerts if you think about it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like these niggas. Basically. Yeah, and these niggas are filling up like 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. Like
Word.
these are like
Easily.
5 stadiums. These are like 5 stadiums combined in one IG live. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
shouts to Tim and Swerves.
A lot of the times they set it up to where like you might think these artists, you know, they didn't get along or they were, you know, against each other. But most of the time is that, you know, they show you that there's that mutual respect. They're playing fire with fire. You know what I mean?
It's competition, man. Like it's healthy competition. That's all it is. Like Jill and Erica were just sharing stories. T-Pain and Lil Jon were having fun competition, and I mean Nelly and Ludacris, they were out at the same time, but it's just like, well, I remember this record came out and I did this record, and it's like their styles are so different, but they were in the same time zone. So it was just like you can't write it any better than this. You know what I mean? Like trying to get them into the same stadium or same venue, like that would take so much with egos and shit. But it's like
so much organic, like true essence of hip hop shines through in these moments, right? Because like with Luda and Nelly, they played a version of a song that Luda was on. I think that Nelly was on Luda's hook or something like that. We never heard it, right?
It was Luda's The Money Maker, and
The Money Maker.
Nelly was on the hook, but for some reason it never came out.
Look, and then immediately they're like, yo, when this is over, we got to go on tour together. Like, you know how much like time and ego and scheduling and all that kind of shit would get in the way of all of those kind of ideas in the regular rat race that we be living. Like,
and you got to think because now niggas ain't got shit, and we start to see how important being outside and touring and performing is. Now niggas can't do any of that. So now niggas like, oh yeah, we're not wasting no time because we don't know if this second strand is coming, or we don't know if another epidemic is coming. So I would hope that they keep the same energy once all this is cleared up. And we get like a big ass versus festival or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. So quickly, like I have a wish list of verses I would like to see, right? Like I want to see more women. Right. You know, I think the women, it shouldn't just be Erica and Joe. It should be a lot. And I have like 2 mega queens that I wanted to see. I want to see like Mary versus Mariah. Kiss told me that would never happen. And I mean, he's cool with both of them, so maybe he knows something we don't know. You know what I mean? But like, I would love to see that. And then maybe like on like a more like, just for me, like Kiss versus Cameron or some shit like that, or GDTI. You know what I mean? Something like this.
I would. I put together a mock cheat. I put together like 3 mock cheat sheets. I did a Jay-Z versus DMX. I did Luda versus Busta, and I did T.I. versus Jeezy. So I would like to see those 3 come about. But Mariah would just get destroyed.
Thank you.
Like it's just
pretty much,
Mary and Janet for me sounds like more.
But they're too those. I feel like they're too far gone to play with that. I don't know if I don't see that happening either.
I mean, if Babyface did it, I think anybody can do it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Babyface will have nothing to do for nobody.
If Babyface took the time, I think everybody else can take 2 hours out of a night that we not doing shit to.
Listen, Babyface came back the next day. It had to
So if Babyface got the patience to do that shit, I think we can get an hour out of Mariah.
Yeah, a lot of people want to see. I've been seeing a lot of people mention like they want to see Rick Ross against somebody.
Yeah, I would like to see like Ross against T.I. or Jeezy or T.I.
Yeah, I would like to see Ross against T.I. Man, I feel like a lot of people sleeping on T.I. records because of the way music is. Maybe they might have not been there for I'm Serious or trap music. They might not know how many records T.I. got. So I think there's a little misconception.
No, I think because of Ross being so big out the gate. You know what I mean? Like T.I. had, the I'm Serious, and he had the joint with Beanie Man. But I think because Ross came out with I'm Hustling, that was the first thing you heard about him. That's why people have that conception of like, oh, Ross is a bigger artist. And they're in certain lights he might be, but their catalogs aren't that far off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I feel the same way. And I don't feel like it's not about somebody winning. I feel like worthy competition. So I feel like that's a worthy match right there. 20 and 20.
Yeah.
I think worthy.
you also got to remember, like, these niggas do still have egos. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
They still got the egos, so it's like, you look at a nigga like Jeezy, I'm sure he's got his ego, and Ross, yes, he got ego, and Tip, and like, these are niggas that claim King of the South and claim ruler of the South, or at one point did. So like that thought process, because like at some point someone's gonna say who won and who lost.
Yeah. So then I know, truly. But those dudes, all of them got a sturdy.
But this is hip hop though. You know what I'm saying?
Like 20. Like if you telling me I could pick 20 records from each of those dudes that you just mentioned, and they got fire. You know what I mean? You know, I don't even have to name it from any records, any of their albums.
There's no dispute. There's no dispute between the three of them that they don't have 20 records. Now, what 20 records are they going to play is the big question. How do you match up against a Ross and a Jeezy, or how do you match up or a T.I. and a Rick Ross? Like,
I think the next step will be Lil Wayne, man. Lil Wayne got to be on one of those versions, because he's one of those. Whether you like him or not, he has a space in music where he helped transition that mixtape era and this digital era. He played a lot of.
There's Wayne. Wayne. Obviously, we know he has over 100 bangers that he can play with. It's you got to see who's in the mood for it. You got to see, because social media chatter does distract us and does, deter us from, like, because, once the battle happens, like, niggas gonna start clowning, and so they was clowning Nelly with the Wi-Fi, and this nigga being drunk, this and the third. So you got to come into that shit sharp as fuck. You got to come in there ready to battle and not make a fool of yourself.
Justin's throwing Kissing Cameron out there, but that was originally my idea. You feel me? That's one for the bros right there. That's for the bros.
If you want to make it a thing, I think Fab and Cam could go toe to toe.
That'd be good.
Fab and Kiss, that would be, Fab and Kiss. I think, but Fab and Cam, because one, they made records for ladies, they made commercial records, mixtape records. They were part of groups like Desert Storm, the Diplomats. Obviously, the Diplomats outweighed Desert Storm, but there's so many different directions that those two could go. We really haven't. I don't think we've seen anybody. Like artists, not producers. Like, I don't think we've seen any artists go in New York go against it yet.
Not yet. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you, right? This is my opinion. I really think that the person that's itching to do it, and he's trying to find the right person to go against, just because how he be in the comments of all of these battles, is Snoop. I think Snoop really wants to do it, and you need somebody with a massively extensive catalog to go against him.
Snoop is cheat code, man. Snoop got too many joints, bro.
Snoop is what, 3 decades in. Snoop, Snoop's like 3 decades in.
14 albums.
14 albums. But I think if you put him against either Busta or LL.
I was thinking Busta.
LL. Yo, I said Busta,
either one. Honestly, either one.
I tell you, low key, people get at me when I say Busta and Snoop. Man,
I didn't say he can't battle Busta. I said that Snoop would win. That's what I was like.
It's never about calling wins. It's about having a catalog to just to even play 20 records.
Busta got enough records, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Busta got plenty. Busta got plenty.
Busta got records. Busta got records, man. I mean,
I haven't seen him really comment. I haven't seen him comment. I heard LL was talking that he might, but Snoop, out of everybody, has been the most adamant about.
Right, he's like really pushing it. Like
he wants to battle somebody. Snoop and DMX have been really adamant about wanting to battle somebody, and I think DMX wanted to battle.
Battle of the Dogs would be crazy. Snoop versus
X. Yeah, the dog battle.
But that's the thing. X only has a smooth 3 albums that could be played.
Yeah, it's hard for me to even talk in some version of what could be conceived as negative talk about DMX, because that's the big homie. You know what I'm saying? But Snoop just has too much of an extensive catalog. Like it's too many records. Like Snoop making good music. His last album, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. You know, so like you got to.
But that's why you say Busta or LL, because they can.
Yeah, it's wild because I love Doggy Style but then again, like Rhythm and Gangsta is one of my favorite albums from Snoop. So it's wild to have
that might be my favorite, second favorite album of Snoop.
And that's like 20 years after the first album. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's never ending.
And you gotta think about Snoop's No Limit days too.
Exactly. Oh yeah, like the Dogfather and Last Meal, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he did an album with Death Row. He got albums with Pharrell. He got albums produced by, Manny. It's been all over the place. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind the next rapper. I hope it does include Snoop, but I wouldn't mind Snoop and Busta Rhymes.
Let me ask you real quick before. I know we've been on for a minute. We're about to get out of here, right?
No,
I'm curious. Like, you think Puff and JD would be a good battle?
The only reason why I say that's not a good battle, because if we're talking about physically making these records and writing these records, JD wins, because JD has written and produced every hit record that he's done. And that's what he even said that shit in someone's IG live. He was like, yeah, Puff got a catalog, but my catalog is different because I wrote everything and I produced everything. You know what I mean? So maybe if they went against Trackmasters, that might be a better suited battle.
I just think Diddy's music is so big, like you know what I mean?
So then what you would do is you would do Bad Boy versus So So Def.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe that makes more sense, like Bad Boy.
If you do it like that,
and whatever they're
because I mean Usher,
you know what I mean?
So Def, those Usher records are huge. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Usher was never So Def.
True, but JD broke complete. JD did.
But you think Usher, you think Jermaine Dupri is like Fabulous and Clue? Like you think that them join, even though they're not necessarily.
Yeah, but then then you have to be like very careful because
he did My Way. He did all of that.
Yeah, but that wasn't under So Def. That was under Arista. So are we talking
label or
it's like that? That comes down. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we do labels, then you can't play Usher.
It's tricky,
right?
You got that's unfair. You got to give him that.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't play Mariah. Mariah was never So Def.
I guess you gotta you would say what songs that they were involved.
You have to go by by some music they were involved in.
So then you can't do the labels because it's too much of a technicality.
You gotta just say
but there's some battles that are hard to put
not
together
a piano
too.
player. He's not a physical producer, but he is the person telling you.
Yeah, no, I think then that's a Puff and Dr. Dre battle then, because Dre is the same thing. Like Dre has Scott Storch, Puff got the Hitman, so it's like you can go back and forth. Like Dre had Marley Marl, like Puff had Stevie J. You know what I mean? D-Dot and Angeletti. So it's like you could put them against each other because they had so many teams under them. Not to say they weren't, but because the producer is actually somebody putting the record together, doing this, orchestrating everything. So I think Puff and Dre would be a better suited battle, but I think JD and the Trackmasters.
Is there
the Trackmasters? Yeah, I'm with that.
Is there anything next up coming up, or is it being worked on right now?
They're working on it right now. I heard, Usher is looking to battle. He said he wanted. It was either Chris Brown or Justin Timberlake.
Oh man,
let's leave JT out of this.
Usher.
Leave JT out of this situation.
I wouldn't mind it.
That would be good. Whether it's Justin Timberlake or Chris Brown, it's good, right? See, if it's Chris Brown, it's like sort of a passing of the torch battle.
Yeah, and if it's and that's what he said.
And if it's Justin Timberlake, then it's like they sort of have real smoke because people sort of kind of undermine Usher for Justin Timberlake somewhat in a sense.
Yeah, but let's be real. I like Justin Timberlake. I have no problem with him. I just think musically it's short-lived. It's not like it's 2 albums that you really like that sound.
He got 20 records, bro. He got 20 records.
He does have 20
I can see why Usher would say that he wants that track, because it's his chance to prove something. Because that's strong smoke right there in the R&B world.
Yeah, that's not Justin is not no easy battle. That's an entertaining battle, but Justin
you might have to make that playlist.
Bro, the ladies won't be out for that. The ladies
that's the
coming
thing.
out
Like,
for
I don't want to make anything yet until I know, because it's like I don't want to exhaust myself, because if I make one playlist and then niggas announce some other shit, I got 4 hours of shit I just put into. Now I gotta make I'm just like, let me just wait to see what niggas is talking about. But yeah, as soon as they announce something,
you might as well just find something to do when that battle go down, because ladies are gonna be locked in. They ain't paying no mind. You know what I mean?
Nah,
but real quick,
because when Jill and Erica was battling, man, it smelled like shea butter, weed, and sage.
Word.
All the dudes were locked in. So when it's time for Usher and them,
it's coming. It's coming, though. It's coming.
So hold on, real quick, just because people that don't really know everything that you got going on, right? I just want them to know, because I figure this will live on forever and ever. So now you do on air, whatever version that technical term is now for Apple Music, right?
Right.
On the Ebro show, or is it your own thing, or now?
Right now, I do the playlist show, and that's just like, an assortment of records that we play, throughout the, it's different records from like different artists from around the globe. So like, it's literally a playlist show. We do our drops and we send it in. I'm working on 2 new shows I can't really announce yet, but I'm working on 2 new shows for Apple, and we're in the middle of like, getting everything together. So hopefully in the next coming weeks, I'll have some new information for that. But you can catch me every Wednesday. There's a new show called Rap Life on Apple Music, and me and the Desk and Ebro, it's like a roundtable with us 3 talking about new records that come out, the biggest topics in the industry. And I do this other show with Revolt TV called The Roundup, where we just talk about specifically new records. We do interviews. We interviewed Kelly Rowland a couple weeks ago, Mozzie. So I do that with them, and that comes out.
Is that with you with Ivy?
Yeah. That comes out every Friday afternoon.
Okay.
I'm busy working.
Yeah. So yeah, like, to your question earlier about what's happening, like these are the things that, that keep me busy. These are the things that I'm good at. These are the things that, people came to me and were like, yo, this is a show we have an idea, like we think it'd be perfect. And we've been running about 6 to 7 weeks with the roundup, and this is our 3rd week with Rap Life.
Okay.
So, and I just do like random IG lives playing music and shit. But some days you want to stay busy, other days you're just like, man, what the fuck? You just want to sit on the couch and just like sleep or whatever. So it comes and goes. The inspiration comes and goes.
Let me ask you this though: do you still have that passion for like finding new music? You know what I mean? Like, and if so, what's some of the new music that like recently that you've been listening to, or that you feel like that you should share with me and Justin right now? Like, some shit that maybe
I'm an old head.
There's this kid named Mozzie from California.
I fuck with Mozzie.
Mozzie's very hard. He got a song, Boys to Men, is very dope. Who else? That's a good question.
That project, One Up Top, was the first project I think I heard from One Up Top, from Mozzie.
Yeah. Fuck. What else? Damn, I'm sure I would have had some shit written down. Chick named Lady London.
Okay. Yep. Lady London.
Yeah, Lady London.
I heard a couple of her bars along the way.
Yeah, and then another chick, little young girl, she's like 16, 17, name is Kiara Love. She's from Pittsburgh. She's very, very sick. And there's this other dude that I've been messing with for a minute, but people are really starting to get to know him. He's from Queens. His name is Anik Khan.
Okay. I heard of that name.
Yeah, he's of like Indian descent, but dude is fucking insane. Like, I've known him for a minute, but his music is starting to get up there. And this other guy that I interviewed on Revolt, his name is Jack Ross. And he reminds me of like Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye, like that raspy, soulful vibe. So yeah, those are a couple people that I'm keeping tabs on right now.
What it is, you heard it new.
I'm gonna check for those. I'm gonna check for them. Definitely gonna check for them.
Nah, I'll text it. I'll text it to y'all so y'all have. I'll text y'all some links so y'all can.
Yeah, send me that. And but yeah, man, listen. I really appreciate you giving us the time. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate you sharing your journey and your stories, and it's informative and it's helpful, and we want to just, show love and pay homage. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what this whole platform is about, and I really appreciate it, bro.
Nah, man, I appreciate you guys for even taking the time, and anytime you guys need me, anything I can do, I'm right here. I ain't going nowhere. So,
nah, we appreciate you, bro, for real, man.
I gotta get some more gear your way too, bro. We've dropped a lot.
Yeah, let me know. The last joint I bought was the pink hoodie and the Crooklyn joint. I see y'all just dropped some the running pants with the cinch on the legs. So I'll send you some stuff. I'll cop some stuff, but I'll send you some stuff that I was looking at.
Brother, thank you very much. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon, man.
Peace. Be safe, y'all.
All right, man. You too.
Yo.